Hey Deckers, Liam here, time for some Steam Deck and gaming news. Although I'm going to begin with something not specifically Steam Deck, with the Asus ROG Ally being announced. What initially seemed like an April Fool's turned out to be very real. I'll be honest with you, this is actually the first time I believe there might potentially be a real competitor to the Steam Deck. And this is because Asus are a well-established, bigger hardware vendor compared to the little bits of crowdfunding that the likes of Neo keep doing, where they only sell a few thousand at a time. As always though, it depends on the price, which they are not giving out, and I have a feeling it will be quite a bit more than the Steam Deck given the specifications. Especially since it will have a custom AMD APU that they say is the fastest yet. It will have Windows 11, so it has the licensing involved there. And it has a 1080p screen with a 120Hz refresh rate. That's not going to come cheap, and Asus can't make up for it like Valve can. Since Valve get a 30% cut of basically all Steam game sales. It also depends on how good their special interface is, because stock Windows 11 just isn't pretty on a handheld. The other reason why I think it can be a real competitor is that it's going to be stocked by the likes of Best Buy, and since it's Asus, they already have their products in many stores across the world, which they can jump in with the partnerships on. I'm sure Valve will be keeping watch, and who knows, maybe when SteamOS is released properly for everyone, Asus might even support that as well. Next up, there was a report published by analysts at Omdia where they're estimating that the Steam Deck will hit a sales total of close to 3.5 million by the end of 2023. That's actually a really nice figure for Valve, and you might be wondering why Valve doesn't give out the figures themselves. And to me, it's actually quite simple why. People love to put a negative spin on things. Can you just imagine the headlines it would generate from the wider media who love their clickbait? They'll call it a disaster, they'll compare it constantly to traditional consoles, and they'll just make it look bad because it's not selling multiple millions at a time. The reality though is that for a device breaking new ground such as the Steam Deck, it's a huge effort, and considering the only retail stores selling it are just a couple in Asia, and that's only just now beginning, with the rest of the sales all online and in limited countries, it is impressive. Here's a bit of news for you about an upcoming upgrade for the graphics driver in the Steam Deck. It will be in an upcoming release of the Mesa driver, a new feature called the Graphics Pipeline Library, and it has been enabled by default. What it will do is it will speed up the shader cache for less stuttering, something that has been a work in progress for a while now using a newer Vulkan API extension. In a way, it could be compared to the old DXVK async from GE Proton that was actually removed a few versions ago. The basic idea is the same, and so in a future SteamOS upgrade, we shall hopefully see smoother games. And this will be especially good for games outside of Steam, where you don't get that pre-made shader cache ready for download. So the Steam Deck is only going to keep getting better. And in another upgrade for the Mesa graphics driver, it looks like the shader cache file size is also going to be reduced by quite a lot, as much as 60% going by what the developer said. So that will be nice for deckers with less storage. Some of you may remember all the problems we had with the EA app breaking games a while ago when it updated. Well, unfortunately, this also happened with Epic Online Services recently, where users found they were basically locked out because an update to Epic Online Services broke it in Proton. Thankfully, as usual, Valve came to the rescue with the latest update to Proton Experimental having the fixes that you need. So if you're playing a game that does have EOS, make sure to swap it over to Proton Experimental until a new stable version of Proton gets a release with the fixes, and it fixes up stuff like Fall Guys, Returnal, and other games. But you may need to remove the Proton prefix to get it to work, which you can do in the Game Properties and Developer menu and remove the prefix. However, as a warning, doing that can end up removing any save files and configuration not stored in the cloud. And if you don't see that option, you may need to turn on the main developer mode in the main Steam Deck settings. Valve also released an update to Proton Hotfix to get Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin working with it out of the box. And it's nice to see more big games like it get some attention, so that now no workarounds will be needed. You just need to set it to Proton Hotfix. For people using Epic Games and GOG, the Heroic Games Launcher just recently had a nice upgrade as well with the 2.7 release that brings with it improvements to Ubisoft, updates and upgrades to the Epic login to make it work better. There's library improvements to GOG and some small user interface improvements as well. Honestly, you really should give Heroic a go. It's wonderful and it makes grabbing and playing your games from GOG and Epic Games just so easy to do. Okay, here's a bigger one for you. Halo the Master Chief Collection has finally properly enabled the anti-cheat for Linux and Steam Deck, so now you can play matchmaking and custom games without much trouble. This is all official as well, as the developer put up a new support entry announcement for it, and it will continue to get improvements over time. This is just the start. There are a few issues though, like the launch options currently being backwards, so you actually need to select the anti-cheat disabled launch option, and co-op online doesn't yet work with Xbox or Windows PC, but hopefully that will be one of the things they're going to fix up later. Now this sure took its sweet time to get here, but I'm very happy it happened. It's also still super weird to have a Microsoft title like this get such dedicated support for a Linux-based handheld. Another big one for you is Half-Life Alyx, the VR exclusive from Valve, because there's now a special mod that enables it to be played without VR, and it even works on Steam Deck. And the footage you're seeing here is me playing it on Steam Deck. I completed it originally in VR, and it remains one of my all-time top 5 gaming experiences in my entire life. So it's more than a little bit weird to be playing some of it like this on a completely flat screen in my hands. Installing this Half-Life Alyx mod is really simple too. All you need to do is grab the download from their mod database page, and after you unzip it in your downloads, you can just move the folders over to your Alyx install and let them overwrite everything. Then you just set a launch option of -no VR and -vsync, and then in Steam Input there is already a dedicated controller configuration set up just for the Steam Deck. And after that you're basically good to go. More gaming news for you here, as the hardcore first-person shooter Hell Let Loose announced plans for official Steam Deck support. I'm not really sure how well such a hardcore shooter will translate to the smaller screen of the Steam Deck, but I'm excited to give it a try. I've played quite a few shooters quite nicely on it. For Hell Let Loose, they're currently targeting that Steam Deck support to happen sometime in September this year. So when I hear more, I'll be sure to let you know. Finally for today, Valve recently showed off the top list of Steam Deck games for March 2023 based on playtime. So the most popular titles for March were Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring, Stardew Valley, Vampire Survivors, Octopath Traveler 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Dead Cells, Cyberpunk 2077, Brotato, Hades, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, The Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, Monster Hunter Rise, Fallout 4, Persona 5 Royal, Slay the Spire, No Man's Sky, and Resident Evil 4. That's it for this Steam Deck and gaming news video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you're currently playing. Have you discovered a new favourite? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you later.